Captain Chemtrail, Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, September 14th, 2010 at about 8 p.m. I'm on Mount Ptolemy, in Victoria, British Columbia, filming black chemtrails in the sky and HAARP clouds, which are being put out by the military-industrial complex. The metals and whatever else is in there, I assume it's a biological element, is making people sick all over the place, and there's a corroborating well, everybody I spoke with in Victoria General Hospital, and I spoke with people off the record, of course, but in pharmacies and anywhere in healthcare I could get an interview, corroborated an increase in immunodeficiency related respiratory illnesses and cancer, and we attribute it directly to the chemtrails. And there's also H1N1 symptoms going around, and they correspond with the frequency and scale of the aerial spraying program. So we're trying to detail this at night, at sunset and sunrise every day when they're spraying like this. And this is a very blatant aerial aerosol assault, combined with some fog that's being created in the, it's foggy because it's like colder outside the ocean than it is in it, but there's also some kind of thing they're putting in the water which creates this kind of ugly black stuff here, which is floating around the city, and it smells like pollution. It's really gross. And as the night wears on, like around 6 a.m., if you get up 4 a.m. or something like that and you go outside, you're in this stuff and you can smell it, and you hear people walking by hacking, and there's a huge corresponding increase in the respiratory illnesses and deaths in the old age homes and stuff. People with compromised immunities are dying because of this, and it is population control. So we're doing our best to put this out before we're closed down. I went to go on Alan Watt's Cutting Through the Matrix with Alan Watt on RBN Radio tonight, and he was being censored and kept from communicating with RBN Radio, and they said they couldn't communicate with him either. Although other people were able to get through to him, those two numbers can't phone one another, which is just like what they did with my radio, with my telephones, my cell phone and landline, after I was on the January 9th edition of Dr. Carley's What's Ailing America on RBN Radio. So censorship is on a dramatic increase in Canada and the United States, as is tyranny. There's no law. They think these people that are doing this think they're going to get away with it. They're never going to see a real court of law, and they're doing this, they think, with impunity. And there are solutions. We're starting to talk amongst ourselves. Everybody, of course, realizes what we're up against, including law enforcement and military personnel, and we're all talking about what we want to do about it. And the most logical decision so far was that we should submit affidavits with forensic evidence of the chemtrail stuff to persons that are involved in perpetrating these crimes against humanity and international law breaches and war crimes, and we want to submit these things to them, hand-delivered or serve them. And if they remain in a state of non-compliance or compliance with the New World Order government and tyranny, then they end up getting a mark against them, which is basically like the Illuminati eyeball in a triangle. And if they're going to uphold and protect the people and the public, then they get an upside-down triangle with a happy face in it, which means they don't have to be tried and, processed and receive a death sentence if they're involved in treason, which is what this is. The Canadian military should be protecting us from this aerial assault. It is poison, and people are dying, and there is a dramatic increase in need for antibiotics and all this stuff, and anyone just needs to go to the local pharmacy and ask their pharmacist if there isn't a deficit of antibiotics and other medications because of this stuff, and they'll get the real deal. As long as it's off the record, of course. But if you ask anyone to speak out on their own against the official story, up until now they've been afraid. But now that they're censoring all the communications in North America, all the public and Republican Broadcasting Network and all the freelance press and free press and the alternative news media, then you'll see a dramatic increase in people like me risking themselves just to prove the point. It's our duty to stand up to tyranny and uphold the torch of the people that fought, suffered, were maimed, killed, or lost family in the First and Second World War. And, you know, we should be doing everything we can to honor those deaths and make them count for something instead of sitting around like a bunch of apathetic, well, cowards and not doing anything about it. It's all around us. The evidence is right here in the sky. I mean, come on. What are we, doctoring the films? What do you think? This is live. This is right now. It's about 8 p.m. and this is what's going on here in Victoria. And you look around the world and you'll see these black clouds everywhere. They're in Ireland. I saw them in Australia. I saw them in Scotland. I saw them and that fog as well, like that fog you see creeping around from the harbor and over here. It's, I saw about 20 videos worldwide last night, and I ran out of time to even look at them anymore. Germany, Ukraine, Czechoslovakia. I saw them in Africa. All over Canada, there's stuff in different pockets. Like there's some places they're not doing this, or at least people say they're not. They might not know what to look for. I mean, a lot of people are just sitting here looking at what they think is a lovely skyscape. They don't know. It's a little weird, but they don't understand where, you know, why is the colors not coming through the clouds, you know? Where's the orange glow? You know, why are those things black instead of orange? You know, this is the thing. All you need to do is look at pictures of clouds over the last couple hundred years, or you know, 120 years or whatever, and you'll see that they've always been clouds, not these things. These are aerosol banks. And given the fact that they keep doing this, I mean, they're increasing this attack here, so they're continuing to do this. It shows me that they're going live. This isn't a test. It's not a drill. They're using the HARP program to control society and make people apathetic, make them, you know, tired and not willing to fight back. They're not able to figure out what they're doing or think clearly. People are being forgetful. They're not, you know, they're not themselves, and they're certainly not able to, you know, figure out what to do about this. They don't. If they do recognize it, they don't know what to do. And so that's a big deal. You know, there goes the thing. And the fact that the completely controlled media doesn't report on this, I've tried to get reporters to report on this like for a couple of months now, and they haven't done one story on it. My father's a journalist. He's an award-winning, revered Canadian political journalist, and I asked him, why don't you write about this? And he said, because I'd be fired. So there it is from the horse's mouth. You see? They're agents of social control. They're like intellectual prostitutes working for the ruling group. Minions. And they figure that they're justified in lying to us because they're, you know, they basically live in a constant state of doublethink. They don't really know what they're doing. They hold two completely opposing realities in their minds. One being that they're nice people and they're citizens and they're trying to inform their public about, you know, stuff, and the other side of it is that they actually think they can get away with lying about stuff and not reporting on the most significant issues, which is the true definition of crazy. You know, it's mental illness. Personally, I can't respect anyone that's involved in this and that fails to recognize it when you try and point it out 6,000 times to them. You know, they seem to just reject it outright. They can't handle the fact that they're doing that for a living. So, anyway, right now that's enough. We're gonna watch this tonight. We'll definitely watch the clouds and everything. We don't have nighttime photography equipment, and we don't have telescopic lenses to zoom in on the chemtrails as they come out of the planes and show that they are U.S. military aircraft, but they're KC-135 tankers, KC-10s, and then there's some single and twin engine jets as well doing it. And we've actually watched 5 planes at a time spray on August the 26th. So that's a wrap on that one, and we'll come back to this as soon as we get in Victoria, British Columbia, filming black chemtrails in the sky and HARP clouds, which are being put out by the military-industrial complex. The metals and whatever else is in there, I assume it's a biological element, is making people sick all over the place, and there's a corroborating well, everybody I spoke with in Victoria General Hospital, and I spoke with people off the record, of course, but in pharmacy. Captain Chemtrail, Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, September 14th, 2010 at about 8 p.m. I'm on Mount Ptolemy, British, directly to the chemtrails, and there's also H1N1 symptoms going around, and they correspond with the frequency and scale of the aerial spraying program. And anywhere in healthcare I could get an interview corroborated an increase in immunodeficiency related respiratory illnesses and cancer, and we attributed